Well, good evening, America. Good to see you. Good to be seen. Glad I'm not outside right now. You ought to. You don't want to be up here on top of the mountain right now. We are in the middle of this whole storm system, cold front that's moving through. Temperatures here in Tennessee are in the 20s, and that's as high as it's going to get today. And it's snowing, and it has been raining. And I live in a place where people don't know how to drive in that. Hello, Carrie Lindley. Oh, it's good to see you, man. John Herron, you too. Glad that you guys are here now. It's making it right on time. That's kind of cool. I'm going to be switching things up a little bit in going forward. A thing that has happened a lot over the course of the past few years, and many of you have been there for it, has been my occasionally shifting things up. One of the things was the advent of me doing videos on YouTube, and I found that doing them live there did not do a hell of a lot of good. And the purpose of that was you're not going to monetize anything on Facebook. Hello, Terry Bushman. Good to see you. Of course, that is one of those non-gender names, so I don't know if it's Terry, a guy, Terry, a woman, whoever you are. Hello. Hopefully you're new to the channel, because new people is really cool. I like that a lot. But I started doing things on YouTube, and if you haven't been there, it's for the most part the same thing that I do here on Biker Wisdom. In fact, titled the same way. And my hope there was to build enough to where there would be some commercials on there and things like that. That has not occurred. And I don't really expect it to. My political leanings aren't, and the way I put them, are not salacious enough. There are times when I get really pissed off, and I find it rather interesting that the ones where I get really pissed off, those are the ones that end up with the most views. But that's also not me. I don't see a whole lot of good in just getting angry about it. I see more good in telling the truth about it. Another change that I made, that I started putting there first, was I have always been fascinated by music reaction videos. And this is reaction videos. Hello, Dave Kurtner. Give Oreo a hug for me. But this is reaction videos to music that has inspired me throughout my life. Now, my take on it, unlike a lot of the other ones, they do it from a musical point of view when they are musicians. And I could do that. Denise Imperatori, I think that's how you say that. Good to see you. But whereas I have been a musician, and professionally through my life, and a lot of you know I have a background in theater and that sort of thing, and a singer and all that other good stuff. So I know a little bit about it. But that isn't where my reactions are. My reactions are, you're in Columbia, Tennessee. Well, how about that? Yep, that's the exact same temperature as here. And Columbia, what a lovely town. A lot of things about it that, well, some videos have been done on the town square there that questionable. But the town itself is beautiful, and I found some of the people to be very cool. So anyway, I'm going to keep doing the Facebook rants, I promise. Anyway, just Columbia is close enough to where I live that I have been through there many times. A couple of great restaurants. But going a little bit further, hello, Cheryl. I've started doing the music reaction videos, but from my own personal perspective of the songs that have inspired me. And I've been asked to continue to do them. I don't know why. On YouTube, They outstrip. Yeah, I know exactly, Denise. And bothered the shit out of me too. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't something that bugged you. But my music reaction videos outstrip the ones that I do here on Facebook 3-1. And that is just starting out. I've only done 3 of them so far, and they're doing that. So I'm going to be continuing to do that. I will be keeping my focus here and on the day's events. A little bit, I'll tell you, I'm going to be doing that just a little bit differently than I have, because I realized I've been wasting time and effort in a manner that I really don't need to. But as far as the YouTube channel goes, one of the things that will help is, folks, I know if you've seen it here, I don't care. Go to, from Delaware, a real president's home state. Good to see you, Elizabeth. But where was I? Just blew me out of the water there for a second. Anyway, even though you've seen the video here, and I'm going to keep doing them here on Facebook, unless they turn into bigger assholes than they can already be sometimes. But I'm going to keep doing them here. The music videos are going to be over there for the most part. I'll be posting them here as secondary, whereas, kind of flip-flopping it. Here, I post these videos here primarily, and then to YouTube. It's opposite with the music reaction videos. I post them to YouTube first and then post them here, and that just to my personal page and to Biker Wisdom and Thoughts. Anyway, it will help a lot if you were to go to the YouTube channel and like and subscribe. It's simple as that. The more of that there is, the better the chance is of it growing and doing something more, and that's what I want. Hello, David Meister. So like and subscribe there. Another thing I'm going to be changing up is, I know that I'm never going to monetize this the way some people can and do. And I know that in the past I have had to ask for help from the Blue Dots for any number of things, as often as not for some terrible thing that just happened, or for help with people in my community that are really on hard times and really need some help, and I can't afford to just throw the money at it. I'm a working schmuck, just like you guys, actually a retired working schmuck. So I'm not going to monetize well. I understand that. However, another thing caught my eye not too long ago, and I've been mulling it over, and I'm going to do that. And it's a way that you can help, and it's a way that you can help any time you feel like it, and doesn't have to express a specific need. Doing this, as much as you think it is, it's not. It's not free. It's not free time. It's not free as far as the stuff that I have to do to make things work. It's not free. But the things that I need to do that, and the things that I could use to make that better, we could do. Because many of them are relatively small. I'm going to do a thing that some of the OnlyFans content creators or Reddit content creators, which are usually very salacious, beautiful young women, and sometimes not so beautiful, just putting their bodies out there. One of the things that they almost always have is an Amazon wish list. And that's one of the things I'm going to do. On my videos from going forward, in the comments, I will be posting an Amazon wish list. And you'll find any number of things in there. Stuff from $5 to $10 to stuff that might be a couple $100. Whatever you can do to help, wonderful. Ariel Wilson. Hello there. How are you? I have a friend named Ariel. Her name is not Ariel along the line of the Little Mermaid, however. Her dad was a pilot, and she became a pilot herself, and he named her Ariel. More for the part of the plane. That's kind of cool. But anyway, I'm going to post this Amazon wish list, which will have some of the things that will make these a little more polished, a little better. One of the things that I want to do in these is to be able to put them out there live, but with pertinent content, some level of video, some level of articles, going through them, that sort of thing, but live so that we can get the instantaneous reactions because, by the way, that is the thing that I like the most here. I like looking down and seeing that John Herron said, hey, yeah, great idea. I think it is too. I think it'll work out nicely. So that's the wish list. Another thing that I need from you, and I put this in a post the other day, and I really mean it. Going forward, I am going to do things here a little bit differently, but I'm also asking you, as I always have, for your idea of, oh, you know what, Leo, this happened. This might be one that you can delve into. Well, look this up. See what you think of this. Let's see what we can work on that. I really do want your ideas there. More so. And you got to remember that I'm a 70s, 80s, 90s, then we start getting into where the fuck did the talent go kind of guy musically. Actually 60s as well. And that's also where I have quite a lot of expertise, or as I call it, a whole lot of useless information in my brain. What else are you going to use it for? Diana Goodman, good to see you. Anyway, I'd like your ideas on the songs that really did something to trigger you, to make you think a little more deeply, to make you think about your fellow man, to make you think about what else can we do. Obviously, people have already mentioned Imagine. People have already mentioned, well, they didn't even know it was called that. People have mentioned what they thought was called Stop Now, What's That Sound? That's not the name of it. The name of the song is For What It's Worth. Then the title of the song is nowhere in the song. But the name of that song is For What It's Worth. And it's also, a lot of people think that that's a song. I will be doing that one, and I'll be covering this. A lot of people think that that's a war protest song. That is not what it was written for at all. It was written for the closing of a club on Sunset Strip that Pandora's Box was the club that closed. And there were some riots in the streets because of that, and it was because of the curfew that they'd set, and that led to that song. So we'll go into that when I actually do the song. There's a ton of things we could be talking about as far as different music that really, really made a difference. Now, I don't know which one you're talking about, Denise, but one of them is the Beatles' Revolution. That would be a very good song to delve into. But others, I need those. I need those suggestions. And I'll bet anything, if we're talking about 60s, 70s, 80s, going into the 90s, I have probably heard or sung the song in a band and may know it inside out, may know the chord structure of it. The last one I did was John Mellencamp's Rain on the Scarecrow. Anyway, that I'm looking for those suggestions. That's one of them. The other thing that I'm changing up, I don't know why. I will go through the day, and sometimes you guys have read my stuff. I write. I write pretty well. Enough to have been paid for it for a number of years, so I guess I write pretty well. Anyway, my writings sometimes, like anything else I do, can be verbose, long. I do that a lot of times in my posts, and then I'll get done and I'll sit there and think, well, I've got to do a live today. There's so many things going on. Why don't I, what am I going to do? And then I go out and look, and that. Without ever going through my posts and realizing, Leo, you've already espoused all kinds of things here. I'm going to be going back to these and more than anything else, calling them my musings of the day, because that's exactly what they are. Now, let's get into the meat of today, and I'm going to try to keep going on the things that were my musings of the day. The first one I want to talk about is today and the date. earlier in the day, I posted that we here on Facebook get our memories, things that came up 9 years ago. It depends on how long you've been on Facebook. So I get stuff that was up 12, 14 years ago. But they come up as memories. I didn't need that today. All I had to do was look at the calendar and what 4 years ago was. And what I'd like to put out there is today, January 6th, 4 years ago. I remember it happening as if it was yesterday. 4 years is not a long time for a 69-year-old guy. I'll be 69 in June. But we all post our memories up here, and I don't need the algorithm for that today. Today marks one of the most serious crimes we have ever seen committed by an elected official. I mean, in your lifetime, where do you remember that not only an elected official, but the President of the United States calling for and getting an insurrection? It happened. You know, he asked people to show up. Come to Washington on January 6th. Gonna be wild. Sure as shit was. That happened. And all of that happened promoting a lie. He did not want the power to change hands. He tried to stop it. People showed up. They did it. You know, and we hear from the right all the time these analogies to the summer before the George Floyd protests and the violence that took place there. And well, what about? Well, what about? That wasn't the president calling for that violence, and that fucking riot was just as bad or worse. So I don't want to hear that comparison. It's not a comparison. Yes, the things that happened in the George Floyd riots were illegal. And many of the people were held to account for that. And the people at the heart of those riots were generally arrested. Well, we're not holding the guy that created 4 years ago apparently accountable for it. At least not while he's president. And we did that again. There are so many things that he claimed were the reason why that happened that were lies. And he's doing the exact same thing now. Got into office the same way. Remember how much he ran on immigration, and now he's flip-flopped on the H-1B visas. Are they going to riot about that? Or are they just going to overlook it like every other stupid fucking thing he does? They'll probably just overlook it. I don't expect them to do anything. My problem with it is the people that looked at it and turned away. Just as I said. It's probably what they're going to do. That they allowed it, they supported it, and looked away from the reality. I can't look away from that reality. I just can't. It was there. It happened. And they brought him back. Now that's just how friggin' stupid it is. They brought him back. The guy, a sexual predator, I didn't use the word that he sued ABC over. A sexual predator, although that word would have probably been true. A grifter, a tax evader, a convicted felon 34 times, robbed from his own charity, and that for veterans. All of these things, failed businessman, and when you get right down to it, a failed human being, but forget about the abuses, forget about the attacks, let's just draw them right back in again. I have to juxtapose that to today. We saw today exactly what we... Did you even know that anything happened on January 6th before January 6th 4 years ago? Did you know that there had to be a confirmation of the electorate? I knew it, but kind of somewhere in the back of my head because I have read the Constitution a bunch of times. But we never really thought about that. Today was as it always has been, as it always should be. Today was actually the person he ran against presiding over a peaceful commencement, saying that we're transferring power. This is the guy that was elected. Okay, thanks, folks. Go home. Took half an hour. 4 years ago, took hours and hours and hours, and some of those full of terror, some of those causing death. Think about it. When everybody talks about a lot of things here in this nation, one of the things we hear, especially from the right, is 9/11. Never forget. Well, I've got another one right up there. January 6th. Never forget. And I won't. Kelly K. Duncan. Hello there. Another name I've not seen. Anyway, from that, I blame that on him. Just straight up. Sorry, I blame it on him. Another thing that hit me today is a thing that keeps coming up, and it makes me wonder, what the hell are you people thinking? This is about the GOP in general. Why do MAGA especially, and the GOP, so revere rich people? They're not helping them. They're not doing anything for them. And Trump is not going to do anything for them. He's just not. He's going to do for himself. He's going to try to push through his agenda as much as he can, as much as the courts will allow, as much as the country will allow, without going into a full-fledged riot, which I'm not sure he doesn't want, because then he can do martial law. I still think he's probably going to do that before the midterm elections, and very possibly before the 2028 presidential election. I believe that he will try to do that. But aside from that, they bitch and moan about things that are important. They revere these rich assholes, but then they bitch and moan about our helping a burgeoning democracy. Ukraine. Why are we spending money over there? We should be spending it here. On what? How about education? But instead, you bitch about education and you want to tear down the Department of Education and what money we do spend on education. By the way, we want to share it with the rich folks so they can send their kids to a private school. That's not what public education's about. But somehow, the Republicans and MAGA think that that's the most important thing. I don't see it that way. And I think they're being very foolish. You know, they revere these rich people, and you don't hear them bitching at all about these rich people just taking these vanity projects. Oh, look at this. I can actually get out of the atmosphere. I can technically get out to what is outer space. And then come back and have done nothing with it. But somehow they revere that. They think that's important. Sorry, guys. These vanity projects are bullshit. Oh, I've got a company that builds cars. Can you afford one? I can't. I never will be able to. But they revered that guy as some kind of a business genius, even though he had absolutely nothing to do with the development of it. All he did was buy another company. And then what did he do with his wealth? $250 million with a B. I've made that mistake in the past because million is about all I can get my head around. $250 million. Go count those zeros. To get that orange shit stain reelected. No problem with that. No problem at all with $250 million spent to elect the orange shit stain. But every time George Soros spends some of his money on political candidates every time that Bill Gates puts his money toward helping people out, every time that Dolly Parton does it, every time that Taylor Swift does it. These are all horrible people. But Leon, how did I change that around? Yes, Leon Scum, that's right. A little cryptogram there. Can spend $250 million without their batting an eyelash, saying that he's a great businessman. But when somebody from a more progressive, more liberal stance spends far less than that, all they got to do is bitch about it. Leon Smuck. Yeah, Smuck, that's it. Oh, yeah, Scum would work too. But anyway, the latest one, and this is today, this is coming from them, and I'm going to end on this. They and the orange shit stain are bitching that somehow President Biden is making the transition difficult. I do not see a few 100,000 people gathered in Washington attacking the Capitol, rioting, killing people. No. That's making it difficult, asshole. Not the stupid little things you're bringing up. Should have been made difficult. We didn't do it. That's not who we are. Let's never be that. Let's continue to work for a real democracy. Let's continue to work for real change. Let's not worry about that piece of shit near as much as we have. Keep that in your mind. But more than anything else, keep your focus on not fucking up in 2026. Keep your focus on bringing people out to make that change. Keep your focus on educating yourself and educating them. That's what I got. I remind you, I am going to be putting a wish list link into this video. Hopefully, we've got to finish compiling it, but I'll be adding to it over the course of time. I'm going to put that link in this video. I'm going to ask you to go ahead to YouTube, click on even this video there for about 5-10 seconds, like and subscribe. That will help. All right. I love you, America. More than all the other stuff I asked for, share this shit.